about this. Obviously, I've been talking about it a bunch since the rework came through. I've been playing it a bunch as well. Not only is he very powerful, but also he's pretty damn easy to play. You basically can't miss your ultimate now. Before, the ultimate was a line that if you missed it, then you wasted your ultimate and you put it on full cooldown. Now, you get your ultimate, you click in a certain area, you dash that distance, but then your next auto attack becomes empowered. So you basically can never miss it. That empowered auto attack basically becomes Warwick's ultimate. Not only that, but they also have Bessa as well. So we're really going full arcane here for Almighty Capybara. Warwick in the top lane and Bessa in the jungle, and going back to the Morgana in the mid lane.
I don't know if it'll be the Morgana in the mid lane this time around, because obviously we saw that Young Risk played both AP champions in the previous series, so Morgana and obviously Ziggs into the Dragon lane, so maybe we'll see that go into the Dragon lane rather than the mid lane this time around. But we do see the Lilia being banned, the Vi being banned out as well, which was one of ASV's big picks in the previous series. But they go for the Jax, so going back to their basics, they do love the Jax up into the Baron lane, and then the Ornn is definitely going to be sitting into the support role here for the side of ASV, which surprises me because Maokai hasn't been banned. They decided to go for the Ornn first.
I think it really depends on what you actually need. I think with the Maokai, I mean, it's really good with like his ultimate and his second ability, but Ornn maybe has a little bit more in terms of a little bit more crowd control. I mean, the ultimate can be a lot more reliable in terms of a straight line ultimate, whereas Maokai, yes, it has the width, but if players, as I mentioned yesterday, if players stand behind each other, then it can be very difficult to try and, you know, knock multiple people up and CC multiple people, which for likes of Warwick and Bessa, if you can land both the Ornn ultimates onto them champions, then it could be really good to be followed up by someone like a Jax or a Ziggs. But Ziggs is definitely going to have a very difficult time this game. You know, Warwick and Bessa diving onto the Ziggs, it's going to be very hard.
Very difficult indeed. But it's going to be really interesting to see if timing goes for maybe the Ezreal or the Sevilla this time around again, like we saw in the previous series that they played against. Oh my god, I've already forgotten the names. ESB, that's so bad. That's so bad. It's the Elder Brain, the Elder Cultic Brain that completely forgets the team straight away. But the Jarvan ban coming through there as well, which we saw in the previous series do very well. Braum and Lucian as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if they go for Ziggs down into the bot lane rather in the mid, because he has been pretty much dominating that bot lane more so than mid for the majority of the Rift Legends battles. So I don't see it changing anytime soon. But right now we're getting into the 4th and 5th picks for both of these teams. It looks like ASV are going to be looking for something like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
I mean, technically it wasn't them who played it yesterday, right?
Yeah, it was.
Wait, was it?
Yep.
Oh yeah, they played it in the second game, and they did. Oh yes, and yes. Oh boy.
I'm speechless, Stu. I'm speechless.
I mean, okay.
She's had a buff. I mean, it's great. I'll give her that, but it's those stacks, right? So they've got to make sure that the oppression is not given over to the jungle, right?
If the DC doesn't come on through, maybe there's a chance. Hopefully the internet is more stable today, let's be honest, because yesterday the internet was not that stable and Shyvana was in base for a very long amount of time. I mean, Shyvana's going to be definitely very strong, obviously. Later on, I mean, the problem is with ASV's comp is, again, they're very much late game. Every single one of their champions are all late game. You have Jax, you have Shyvana, you have the Ziggs that wants to scale. You're also now going to probably pair it with an Ezreal as well. So this is going to be very difficult, I feel like, for ASV, because it's all to do with the late game. It's all to do with scaling. All these champions really need 2 or 3 items. If these champions don't get 2 or 3 items, then it's going to be absolute horror for ASV. But we've seen the early, and we've also seen that Almighty Capybara are very aggressive during the early game. You know, we saw in the previous series, jungle invades, very aggressive with jungle gangs. Xing was very strong at trying to get Han ahead in the top side. So it's really down to this Jax to try and protect that in the top lane. But I think looking at the draft at the moment, it looks like Almighty Capybara have come out on top. But if this game does go past like the 15-20 minute mark, then maybe there's a chance for ASV.
Yeah, I feel like the Mbessa and the Warwick pick are very aggressive picks for Capybaras here, whereas, like you were saying earlier, the ASV do have quite a few late game scaling champions, like the Shyvana, like the Jax as well. But it's going to be interesting to see if the Ezreal on the side of ASV is going to be held to, or actually could be close to what Timmings did in the first two games of the day as well, because that was a really fantastic performance from the Ezreal in the game 1 of match 1. But I don't know if they've got what it takes to make that Ezreal. Clearly watched Arcane Season 2, and
no spoilers.
No spoilers. They may have not, but with no spoilers intended. But we are getting onto the Rift now, and it seems like all those issues have been eradicated. So going forward, this is the first game of match 2. So let's see which one can get the points on the board. Is it going to be Almighty Capybaras, or is it going to be ASV?
As you can see, as we were talking about before, Severe being in the mid lane for now, both marksmen are in the mid lane just to get that more wave clear. It's kind of surprised that the likes of Morgana and Ziggs are not in the mid lane instead, because if them two were in the mid lane, it would be probably a lot easier time in terms of wave clear. But for now, it's just both the marksmen just getting the priority and getting the extra power towards that mid lane so far. So try to see what happens. And then, as I mentioned, the bot lane is just going to be farm fest. Morgana and Ziggs just farming away, doing absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah, and as you can see, the Shavard is mainly going to prioritize getting those stacks up right, so she can actually have those extra little bits of additions onto her abilities. But Kalos may be getting caught out here. There it is, the taunt. They are bringing it to them. Flash in from the Ezreal is going to be first blood for ASV.
Aqua on the Ezreal, Aqua on the carry. We know how this guy can do it. We know how well this guy can play. This is kind of like game 1 for ASV yesterday, where they have Kaizo on the Jax on more of a carry, Aqua's on a carry as well. And Bessa, though, is getting a trade kill back and maybe trying to look for more as well. She got the resets from her abilities. The shield comes on through, the damage as well, trying to kill the Ezreal. Kills the Ezreal, but is going to die in the end as well. I believe there's Galio actually cleans up the kill, and Bessa survives the entire time. 1-0-2 for this Ambessa, and that's going to be scary times really for ASV.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like it was going to be like a 1-1 trade, but then it just turned around to be a 2-0 for the side of Almighty Capybaras, which just really shows how well these guys play as a team. Their rotations, their timings with the skills are pretty much all on point. And you've already seen a clear disparity in the gold in the jungle as well. That about 500 gold just in that lane alone. Warwick maybe getting caught out here. Hans has no way over the wall. He has to go around, but he's still be able to tank a lot of that damage in the early game.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, the damage reduction that you get from your third ability is really nice. And also the change that happened with the first ability, making it a lot easier to dash to the other side of a champion, is also a great feature for the game now. So you can actually use that for an escape mechanic, as you just saw there, and you can just use it to try and do a lot of damage. Empowerment is the rune choice as well. Your first ability works as kind of an auto attack reset, and also works towards your on-hit abilities. So that's going to be really, really nice. Double knock up. Nothing else going to happen so far. But yeah, both the supports actually prioritizing this top side of the map, and it kind of shows that top lane is going to be such a huge priority here for both of these two teams, because we saw it yesterday with Kaizo performing very well on the Jax. We saw it in the last game with Han also performing very well as they're engaged onto the Ezreal. It's going to use the dash away and the flash, but it does not matter. There comes the Warwick. The initial dash misses, but it doesn't matter. The empowered auto attack comes on through, and that is another kill over to Almighty Capybara.
Yeah, nice lunge over the wall, is able to clean up the Ezreal in the mid lane, but it's now all down to Board, in the mid lane to try and keep off this 2v1. They are able to get quite a few of those turret play-ins though, so that's a nice little bit of gold going over to Almighty Capybara Elites. But we know this is a team that is able to just fill in those resources when and where they can, and it's showing right now. They're 3.4k gold ahead, and it's only 4 minutes in.
Yeah, this Warwick is going to be a huge problem. Ornn looking for the engage, though, with the ultimate. Actually hits the Severe somehow. That was right on the edge. And Ezreal was looking to try and get the dash to come in. Uses the Mystic Shot, actually hits the minion instead. But it does not matter. The Ornn tries to engage on through. But it's a killing spree already for this Ambessa. 3-0-2. And this Ambessa is going to absolutely destroy this game.
Yeah, looking to build the phage, and obviously the Gluttonous Greaves means that the Omnivamp comes through. So when she does go into commit for a engage, she's going to have a lot more of survivability for her, getting a bit of that Omnivamp getting back some of that health that she's been depleted away while she's chasing them across. She looks like she's going to go for the blue buff, leaves it there. I mean, Shyvana, I think, is probably a good call for the Oak to actually try and retreat by now, because going to 2v1 against the Galio, against the Ambessa, is going to be a struggle for you.
It's going to be very difficult. As you can see, Black Cleaver, interesting enough, the first item choice here for Ambessa. So more to do with trying to reduce the armor of the enemy team, which can definitely help out when your Warwick or your Severe is going to be trying to do more damage. And I mean, I don't know why, but this Severe's itemization, like in these games, are very weird. More of Malmortius first item. I mean, there is a lot of AP damage, don't get me wrong, as Ambessa gets another kill, and it might not even matter, to be honest with you. Morgana secures the objective. They get another kill as well. It might not even matter, but basically this Severe is going to be doing 0 damage this game. More of Malmortius' first item is a defensive item for Marksman. Yes, you're against a lot of magic damage, but you're losing so much damage output yourself. But when the Ambessa and the Warwick are this far ahead, yeah, I don't think it really matters.
I mean, that's what they may as well just be using the Severe as that utility, right? Just be able to get that movement speed increase from her ultimate and just able to have that fantastic engage. It just really just opens up the ferocity of Almighty Capybaras, which we know of. And there's a double knockup from the Orn. Board is trying to keep Ezreal alive for now. Here comes the ultimate coming through. He's going to be able to land it. He gets the knock onto Severe, but it is going to be Severe that gets a kill onto the Ezreal, and then the ultimate bomb comes through. Getting a 1-1 trade now for ASV, but they may not be finishing here. The knockup is not going to be completed by Ambessa, so Orn gets away for now, but is Shyvana going to be able to be lucky enough as well to get away? So much damage. She goes back in the Dragon Descent. Why?
Just trying to use the dragon to get the extra HP, was maybe worried that she was going to be bursted down by the Ambessa. So just using the ultimate, getting the extra HP in the end is completely fine. Ambessa, just misses a smite in the end, unfortunately. Ezreal going to look to try and dash in, maybe secure a kill on this Ambessa, but she is completely unkillable. As a True Shot Barrage came through. I think it hit, but it didn't take Ambessa low enough for her to die. And this is a really, really difficult scenario here for ASV.
Yeah, you can see that more Malmortius actually be built now completely, and now Severe is 2-1-3. But look at that gold disparity right there between the mid lane alone. 1.4k is huge, and you can already see it come into effect with the itemization, or we're having that one slotted item completely, and then a second tier come through, as well as the attack speed boots. Also, there is plenty on this Severe that can still make a severe problem.
I see what you did there. I mean, honestly, with the item build, I don't think she's going to be a problem at all. I think with this item build, this Severe is basically going to do no damage. She's basically there as a second support at this point, honestly. Like, you just have the support from the movement speed from Severe, plus the black shield from Morgana. There are ways in which that could be a kind of a game plan here for Almighty Capybara. Just like, give Warwick the movement speed, give Ambessa the movement speed and the black shield as well. Warwick actually using the ultimate to get away. Oh my god, what an insane flash forward there from the Warwick to secure the kill, but the kill is probably going to be traded back here. Potentially, yes. The Severe is going to be, the Morgana is going to be going down. It's traded with Severe, but you saw there how strong the Warwick ultimate was. He uses the ultimate to escape. He uses that dash to escape. Then he flashes onto the Severe and still, or not Severe, sorry, the Ezreal, and still gets that empowered also attack off and still deals the full damage from the ultimate. So really showing the power there of Warwick. But oh no, it looks like Ziggs and Orn might be in a really rough spot. The double taunt, the Ambessa ultimate comes on through. Ziggs is taken down. Orn's going to try and survive, but you can't do nothing when there's 4 powerhouses right in front of you.
I mean, not only that, they've completely eradicated the Baron lane, right? There is no turret staying alive, no inhibitor.
Oh yeah, what happened there? I didn't see that.
Gone. It was a 2v.
Oh my god.
It was Severe, and it was Warwick, and it was everybody was just, I think it was just 3 people going ham on the Baron lane. And it just went down so fast. 8 minutes in, all the way to the inhibitor. Absolutely crazy for the side of Almighty Capybaras. And you kind of saw that ASV were trying to do the same thing to the farm lane, the dragon lane, sorry, but it just wasn't enough. They don't have the attack speed. They don't have the ferocity. Yes, they have the Jax, but he was not there. And Kaizo, speaking of Jax, may get caught out here. The Counter-Strike does come through, but there we go. We get the knock-up and the taunt from the Galio, and then the turret is going to be the last hit that they need to take out the Jax.
Oh, Difficulty here. The Jack's trying to split push, trying to get back into the game. But, I mean, you're looking at the goal leads at the moment near the bottom right. 3,000 for the marksman, 500 for the mid lane, and then the jungle. Look at that. Over 1,000 goal lead in the jungle. The Ambessa is 5-0-7, and it's kind of the same problem that ASV had yesterday in their game loss, where they pick this Shyvana, but their early game is just so weak. And when you're against the likes of Ambessa, when you're against the likes of Warwick, it's so difficult to try and turn things around. But yeah, it's complete domination from the Russian side at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've managed to completely just get down one of the lanes completely, and that's going to be a wide open wound for the side of ASV, which is going to be an issue, right? They're down by 2 dragons as well, means that they're very much closer to the Dragon Soul, and it looks like the next dragon they're going to attain is going to be the Shyvana as well. Down goes Shyvana. Ezreal and Ambessa go to 1v1, but it looks like it's now going to get taken out by the Warwick as well. Hans coming through with a double kill for the side of Almighty Capybaras Elites, bringing it to 17 kills, 2-4, and are they going to be able to bring a 5th kill onto the side of ASV with enough one? It's not quite going to come through. The status saving the was it Morgana? No, Ambassa, sorry. Just made staying alive thanks to the status, but not staying alive is the on thanks to Warwick once more. And it's going to be a 2v1 between Morgana and the Jax, now being paired up with Shyvana as well as the Ambassa going straight in. Straight back onto the Ziggs. He's got to be careful, but serving up another kill for Hans is the Ambassa. And then all they need is those minions, and it looks like they're coming down in the mid lane.
Kill underneath the Nexus, underneath the fountain as well. This is absolute domination for Almighty Capybara. They might even try and end the game here. No, they're going to play it safe for now. They're going to try and get all 3 inhibitor towers. I don't think they're going to be healthy enough, but it does not matter. Absolutely insane performance here from Almighty Capybara. Incredible to see that their aggression, their domination in this game. They just never back down from a fight. Every single time they find an opportunity to fight, they never back down. Even the Ambessa going back in right at the end there. Such an incredible performance.
Yeah, just when you think they're down and out, when they're like really damaged to these champions, they're just like, no, just give me like a few seconds. I'll recuperate. I'll be able to get back in there, coach. Let me go in. Let me go in. And that's exactly the ethos here for Almighty Capybaras. And it's really showing with their kills, right? 21-4. It was 17-4 moments ago. And even the gold lead is very impressive. 12.8k gold lead difference here between these two teams. And it only gets worse when you look at all the other metrics. The dragons, the turrets, it's all going in favor of Almighty Capybaras. But ASV, they need to do something here. Warwick is straight into the back line there, doing a lot of damage onto the Ziggs. They're able to get the Baron Nashor as well. So big turnaround here for once more for Almighty Capybaras.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much more to this game. The Ambessa jumps in again onto the Ezreal, just getting kill after kill. There's so much movement. There's so much mobility. The taunt from the Galio actually comes on through in the end. Are they going to kill another one underneath the fountain? Another death for the side of ASV. 25 kills to 5. Over a 10,000 gold lead for Almighty Capybara, and they have come to play in this grand final. They've taken the momentum from the semi-final, they've taken it to the grand final, and Almighty Capybara are 1 game away for securing the victory here at the Rising Legends Battle.
I mean, we're seeing it in the draft, right? The Warwick and the Ambessa combo was going to be deadly, but did we think it was going to be this deadly? The utility, the amount of kills, the absolute domination into the Baron lane was huge.
No, it was absolutely insane. I mean, you can see that the supports were even prioritizing up in the Baron lane as well. The supports were making sure that the Warwick or even the Jax wouldn't get too far ahead. But it came down to the rotations from the Jax and also the Ambessa, the little exchanges that happened, the little skirmishes that happened in the river during the early game. Ambessa getting the early double kill, surviving on half HP, really gave them the advantage. And the problem is on the side of ASV is when you go for these little skirmishes, you're playing Shyvana. You shouldn't be going for these early game fights. You're going for these early game fights, you're going for these early game skirmishes, and you're trying to get kills, but you have a Shyvana on your team who is completely useless during the early game. So you need to be more patient when you're playing these type of comps. You need to be more patient when you're playing Shyvana. So it's extremely difficult here, but as you can see, across the boards, a really great performance. I mean, Shin there 8-0 and 12. Han, another great performance in the Baron lane. And yeah, just across the board. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, it looks like Morgana, Galio, and Severe are basically 3 supports and 2 carries on the side of Almighty Capybara, because that's exactly what it felt like in this game.
It felt like it, but then, I mean, Severe actually managed to get some of those kills on the board herself as well, right? She was able to get the Mortal Reminder, the Navari's Blades, just be able to do a lot of damage and able to actually secure 6 of the kills for the side of Almighty Capybaras. But once again, Shin going for that no death run. I'm pretty sure he attained that in one of his games in the last series as well. So really showing what a great player Shin is for the side of Almighty Capybaras. But man, I told you, put the Shyvana down. It's not that good, especially like you said. When you're trying to take these early team fights, that's not the role of the Shyvana. You're trying to get your stacks up for those late game team fights.
No, I think in the case of like a competitive environment like this, when all the teams on voice comms, when players know how to play against the Shyvana, it's very difficult. In solo queue, it's pretty easy because you don't really need to join fights. You don't really need to help your team as much. So you can kind of just farm through the jungle and just scale into a late game beast. And hopefully your team won't be too far behind in that point. But even at that point, you're able to just jump